I was excited. While I was on the airplane, while I was on the plane, I sat next to a guy. He sat in the middle seat. His wife sat next to him, and in front was his mother-in-law. And this guy looked just like the rapper D from the group Run DMC. You know Run DMC, the group Run DMC? He looked just like him. So we're on the plane talking, and he said, young man, he said, what's your name? I said, my name is Daryl Andrews, sir. Be honest with you, can I be real with you? I didn't want to talk to him. I just wanted to get focused on one thing. But my mother always told me to respect people. So I respected this man. You want to talk to him? I chatted with him a little bit. So I was talking to him, and he said, well, what are you going to school for? And I said, well, I want to possibly be a business major. I'm not sure. I'm still working on that. And he said, man, I'm so proud of you, man. He said, I don't know you, but I'm proud. I said, thank you, sir. And he said, he said, when the plane lands, where are you going? I said, sir, when the plane lands, that's what I'm saying, sir. When the plane lands, I'm going over to this place called the Port Authority. And then from the Port Authority in Warrentown to what they call the ferry in Staten Manhattan. They take the ferry over to Staten Island and they go to college. He asked me a question. He said, young man, do you need a ride? And I said, sir, I don't want to inconvenience you and your wife and your mother-in-law with a ride. I have some pretty big luggage. He said, it won't be a problem. I can get you a ride over to the Port Authority. I said, well, sir, I'm going to college. I have about $10 in my pocket. I'll take about 3 of college students. You don't have a lot. So the plane landed. Now, how many of you have been on the plane? When the plane lands, where's the first place you go? Oh, who said the bathroom? No. You gotta go to the bathroom. You go to the baggage claim, right? So listen, here's the story out. I went down the baggage claim and I went to grab my luggage. And this man looked at me and he said, what are you doing? And I said, sir, I'm going to grab my luggage. And he said, you don't have to do that. I said, I don't. He said, no. I said, I don't? He said, mm-mm. And he snapped his finger. Everybody snapped their hand like that. And I looked at him and I said, what's wrong with your hand, man? And this big, tall guy, 6 feet, 11 inches or so, he walks over. He has his cap on his head. He scoops down and he picks up my luggage. And I looked at this guy, Mr. Murphy. I said, Mr. Murphy, who in the world is that? He said, that's my chauffeur. I said, you what? He said, that's my chauffeur. I said, do you have a chauffeur? He said, yes. Ooh. And so I said, where's your chauffeur taking my luggage? And so we go out the door, and there was this big, long, stretch Cadillac limousine with his name on the license plate, J. Murphy. And I looked at him, and I said to Mr. Murphy, when you said you had room, you meant it. That's a lot of room. And so we get in the car, he gives me something to drink. I think it was some can of Pepsi or something. He had a refrigerator in there, all kinds of stuff in this car. And so I said to him, Mr. Murphy, who are you? Who are you? I said, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I said, how old are you, sir? He said, I'm 26. He said, I'm 26. I said, you're 20, what? He said, Daryl, sit down, relax, breathe. I'm not going to tell you who I am. I'm going to tell you what I did. He said, at the age of 14, how many here 14? How many here 15? How many here 13? Okay, how many here 29? It's time for you to get out of middle school. You've been here too long. You remind me a lot of my friends back home. They're still trying to figure it out. This is what he said. Here's how. He said, at the age of 14, I made a decision that changed my life forever. He said, I had 10 of my boys. 10 of my boys. Of boys. And he said, he must have been up. He said, my boys weren't doing anything. All dropped out of school, all hanging out, laughing at kids that go to school, being totally disrespectful to their parents. And I asked myself a question after seeing a show on TV one time. He said, I was 14. He said, why can't I live my dreams? Why do I have to be the one making bad choices? Why if these other kids can go get an education, why can't I? He said, why can't I buy a home one day? He said, why do I have to go the bad pathway? He said, why am I making these choices? So he went to his 10 friends and he said to them, yo man, let's change. He said, we don't need to act like this anymore. He said, let's get serious. What do you think his 10 friends said to him? Get out of here. So guess what he did? Cut them all off. Dug it all off. Went back to school. Listen to the story. Because he's telling me a story now. This story changed my life, and it's going to change yours for years. Went back to school. Graduated from high school, #1 in his class. He said, Daryl, I didn't know I was smart, so I stopped hanging with the boys. They made me think I was dumb. Because they always talked about school in a negative way. So I didn't want to do well in school. He said, I received a full tuition paid scholarship to Yale University, one of the top schools in the country. He said, I graduated from Yale #2 in my class. He said, I went to work for a top accounting firm. He said, within a year, I was so good at that, I said, I'm going to start my own business. He said, by the time I was 24, I had my own business. In 1 year, I went from nothing to a multi-million-dollar business. He said, I own real estate. He said, I own accounting firms all over New York. He said, young man, he said, don't get caught up into the finances because that means nothing to me. But this is what he said, young man, there's one thing I want you to understand. And don't you forget this as long as you live. And young men, you may not remember anything I said today, but please don't forget this, because this is where my young men have the greatest challenges. He said, young man, if you show me your friends, I will show you your future. You show me who you hang around, I'm going to show you what your future. He said, when I made the choice to stop hanging around them boys that were doing all that crazy stuff, my life came alive. He said, I was letting them control my future instead of controlling my own. Look at the fellow next to this person and say, yo, who you hanging out with? Say, yo, who you hanging out with? Yo, who you hanging out with? Think about that. Think about it. Yo, who you hanging out with? This is not just for young people, this is for adults. As adults, yo, who you hanging out with? We adults need to think about that too. Yo. All right, guys, give yourselves a hand clap because I know you're a good young man. I know what I see here today. I know what I see here today. Young men, your future is in your hands. Education is going to be the key to your liberation. Knowledge is power. Don't play around in school. Take it seriously. And show me your friends. And I will show you your future.